Hey everybody, it's Liam Landry here with the Small Wrestling Alliance, giving you my review of the May 30th episode of NXT, and I'll tell you if it was worth it. So, this close to TakeOver Chicago, these last few episodes are going to be more of go home shows. So, that's what a lot of this episode was. Not as much, matches, but just kind of, hyping up the pay per view, saying, "Hey, watch, TakeOver Chicago." So, we start off the night with Aleister Black giving a promo, wanting to be interrupted by Lars Sullivan. So, kind of predicted that, that's what they were going to go with that handicap match from last week. So, Lars Sullivan is challenging Aleister Black. And, he comes out and just attacks him, really just destroys him, stands over him with the title. This is a fine start. It seems like a kind of a rushed, job for a title feud. So I'm not super hyped, for that. It's just kind of comes out the blue. I think it should be a good match because Aleister Black is, amazing. So it should definitely end up being a good match. And I mean, Lars Sullivan's no slouch either, so it can definitely be good for this build. Yeah, I mean, this is the first interaction he really had, so it's not really too much to it. And though overall it was still, good segment. And I'll do it differently tonight. Well, no, I won't change it up. I was thinking about changing it up, but never mind. I'll just say yeah, it was worth it for the build up. I guess maybe that can be how I'll change it. I'll say, worth it for, before takeover, not really worth it after takeover. It doesn't really hold much after that. It wasn't, amazing promos or amazing segment overall, but it was still good to watch just to get hyped up for the match. Start getting hyped up. After that, we have the War Raiders, and they're in a squash match, and you know, they looked good in it, and it did the job that it was supposed to. Though I kind of wanted to see more competitive matches. I don't know if maybe the tag team division isn't deep enough for them to have some more competitive matches now that they're done with Heavy Machinery, and Street Profits look like they're going to be probably feeding with TM61 and so Heavy Machinery. So maybe they don't really have anyone, but they just want to get them out there in a match. So it did its job, but I didn't think it was really worth it because it's just a squash match. And so far, they don't have a match for Takeover Chicago. I don't know if they're going to get in one, but I kind of hope so. But maybe they're going to have TM61 versus Heavy Machinery or Street Profits. Who knows? And they're definitely having the NXT Tag Team Championship match. So didn't think it was that worth it, and didn't really have anything connected it to the Takeover Chicago. So I would say it's not worth it. Before or after. So after that, we had a match between Fabian Eichner and EC3. This was supposed to be his night to make, it NX3. That was his, whole gimmick. His third match, big thing for him. And while he's having a, really good match, because both these two guys, can put on really good matches. I talked about Fabian before. It gets interrupted by Johnny Gargano. Now, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa were both not supposed to be at NXT tonight because William Regal banned them from the premises, saying that the match is that their feud is just too dangerous. Nice way to build it up. So Johnny Gargano just kind of comes out the crowd with the contract, signed contract for a Chicago street fight for Takeover Chicago, and just puts it down on the announcer's table and announces what it is basically, so everyone can see, so everyone can hear him in the crowd. And this had a really good moment in here where EC3 is just staring at Gargano, just like so upset that someone's like taking the spotlight away from him. And it's a great character moment, and maybe a hint for them to feud in the future. And after that, Fabian goes and hits a great top rope crossbody to the outside, just lays him out. But it doesn't end up coming Fabian's way. And I kind of thought maybe they'll do that, like EC3 is distracted and Fabian gets the win off of that. But no, EC3 does get the win. Overall, it's a short match. For before Takeover, I would see it as a really good segment because of what it can does for the Gargano Ciampa feud, and also it was very very short, but the match itself was still very nice because both these guys, like I said, are very good and can put on a good match. So I'd say worth it before Takeover, probably not worth it afterwards. And then after that, we had the we had the match between so Ricochet and it was a squash match. Though granted they gave this guy an entrance, but it still doesn't matter because it was a squash match and the opponent wasn't the main focus here. What the main focus was is that after Ricochet wins a very nice but short matchup where he got to demonstrate not only his agility but his strength as well. And the other guy, who was like, they say about 6'8", so I don't know how tall he is. They they normally round that up a bit, but he hit a springboard elbow drop, and he also hits a moonsault. Well, he misses the moonsault, and realistically, he probably shouldn't be doing that because he almost broke his neck on there. He almost landed right on his head. But he missed that, allowing, Ricochet to get the win. Well, not just off that, but Ricochet to get the advantage. He even had a moment where he had a deadlift vertical suplex, which was great, and that led into his, his finisher. So it was a nice short match, kind of like the EC3 Fabian Eichner match. But afterwards was the real selling point. Was Velveteen Dream came down, confronted him, said, anything you can do, I can do better, and all. And you probably have seen the GIF already, but it was Ricochet jumping out, doing a somersault, landing right on his feet onto the ramp, and walking right up to Velveteen Dream and say, "Prove it." And man, that was amazing. And Velveteen Dream really sold it. His, his bottom jaw almost fell and hit the ground. It was a great, great facial expression to sell that maneuver from Velveteen Dream, and it's of course my most hyped up match for Takeover Chicago, and that's even a pay-per-view that's gonna have the Undisputed Era versus Dunn, Birch, and Orkin, all their matches, and also Gargano Ciampa too. But this I'm even more excited for, and that's great to be able to see what's probably going to be these amazing matches and be like, I'm not even like those are number two. Like Gargano Ciampa, that maybe is like a 2 on the list after this Ricochet Velveteen Dream, because that's such an amazing segment, and they look like they're going to have such a great match together. So really hyped up for that. I would say definitely worth it. I would say even before or afterwards because of the that maneuver and how cool Ricochet ended up looking from that. He looked so amazing. So, like I said, worth it for before and after, and super hyped for that match. Then we get to our final segment, and that was Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler. And this was an okay matchup. I mean, it was a lot of beating down Dakota Kai and playing more into this. She's really afraid of Shayna and just getting beat up and really bullied. And I think it maybe lasted a little too long because it just kind of felt awkward at some points. And I really hope they have Dakota snap back around and really face her fears, but not looking like that so far, especially since after the match was over and Shayna won, Nikki Cross runs down to the ring, steals the title from Shayna, and then calls for a match and Dakota Kai to be the ref. And then when Shayna's distracted, she hits her with the finisher, Cross did, and then gets the pin with Dakota Kai, counting the pin, and then walks off with the championship. So it looks like they're going to be feuding at Takeover Chicago. So that can definitely be a thing. I really hope they don't mess up Dakota Kai's character even more. Like I said, she really needs to be the one to come back, face her fears, and beat Shayna, or else this is just really destroyed her personality in front of the crowd. So hopefully that ends up getting fixed. Overall, I would say it's worth it for before Takeover, not worth it after Takeover. Like I said, it was kind of a awkwardly long. Dakota got some moves in, but mostly just seemed like watching someone get picked on. It wasn't really that amusing. But I guess it does feed into this match between Cross and Shayna. So let's see where it goes from there. And overall, it did its job to hype up the Takeover Chicago. That the main match, the championship match, not necessarily too hyped for. Let's see what they can do next week. But it is what it is. It should still be a good match though. And yeah, if you like this, you can leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, and hit the notification bell so you get notified when we have new videos up and when we go live. We go live for most pay-per-views, give a live reactions. We're planning to go live for Takeover Chicago, and we also go live for a podcast every Sunday starting at 1 p.m. Central Time. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Liam_SWA. And until next time, see ya.